Hello there guys, and welcome back to our Audi R8 car modeling tutorial here. I think in this episode what we're going to do is we're probably going to have a look at bringing these two separate elements together. I've just duplicated this around the other side again so we can kind of see how it's looking. For the most part I think it's looking quite good. So we're going to have a go at bringing these two together. I don't know if we'll get all of this section done, but I would like to have a think about this section too. So if we do have time in this episode, we'll bring the top portions and the bottom portion, maybe work on the side skirt a little bit because there is a lot of detail in that side skirt on the 2019-2020 models. And then we'll maybe have a think about this rear section. So firstly, let's have a look. So we're looking quite nice up here. I've got all my reference images opened up. I've actually got the Audi website opened up as well, just to make it a little bit easier. And what I think we'll do is we need to have a think about how we're really going to run around this. We've got a couple of options. We could take this and go all the way around, which might work quite nicely. Let's maybe first have a think about how we're going to bring these two together. So I'm just going to bring the top portion of this. So we've got that crease there, which kind of comes and then ducks down, and it's not really too relevant. So let's just take this portion here, and I'm just going to take it across. And let's have a look now where these kind of line up in terms of what we have. So we can see that this portion here, let's just take that in. So this portion is kind of going up and around. So this is part of the roof, which has nothing to do with what's going on here. So we'll just leave that as is for now. We've got this here, which is going to continue around, and that's going to actually meet what geometry we have here. This is going to continue around that major body line there. It's actually a gap which runs all the way along, a gap in the car that runs all the way down there, and then this will probably sit centrally somewhere in there. So let's just make sure we're looking good in this view. So let's grab this one. We can see here that we brought it to about where the roof line is, so let's take that there. We'll position these the same. Let's run this one up here. Let's take these up here, and then this one we know is going to sit about halfway. Okay, so we're starting to have an idea of what all of that is kind of going to sit for us as we go. We're starting to get that shape as we go in. We do know that this here needs to have a double line on, because we can see what we have there has this kind of double portion that goes. Now, what I'm tempted to do with this is I'm tempted to run, we may change this in the future, but I am tempted to run another line along this portion here, because I don't want anything running down and affecting our rear area too much, even though we know that it finishes off at the light here. I don't want anything to be affecting that too significantly. So let's run an edge just down here, something like that. Let's maybe go there. Okay, we won't do anything with that. We'll maybe just leave that as is, and let's do another extrusion here. And what we'll do is I'm going to go on my vertices. I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to hold down V. I'm going to snap these here to these vertices, because we know that these ones are already in the right spot, which is fine. And then this one here, we're just going to move over again. We'll probably follow that roof line. This is all subject to change. I'm literally just putting this in now just to kind of get an idea of what it is that we're looking at, because I think here we will benefit from doing something a little bit different to what we have in this portion. In our side view, let's just take that up to match, and we know that they're sitting okay, so we can see that that is starting to kind of join up on there quite nicely. Now we've got a few options, like I said. What we'll do is we'll test one, we'll see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. Let's grab this edge here. I'm going to hit Control E. We just want this one edge. I'm going to take this all the way over here, like that. And what we'll maybe do with this is we'll maybe take this down and around this portion. So let's bring that out, something like that, and we'll just make sure we're sitting nicely up here. We'll think about that crease in a second, but hopefully this should work out okay. I have never modeled this before, by the way, so this is me just kind of having to think about how we want things to be positioned. I'm going to hit Control E to take this round. I'm going to hit Control E one more time. And now what we can do, let's position some of these vertices a little bit better. So I'll maybe drop this one here, take this one there, and then these ones here can come around and start to form this bit. We'll maybe do something like that. Okay, and let's just double check in our top view here. Maybe something like that and like that. Okay. Okay, so we could do something like that. It might not be the smoothest. We could do something like that. Let's maybe see how this goes. So I'm going to grab this edge, hit Control E. Let's take this. And we'll go here, and I'm holding V to snap those in. We do want to carry this. We do want to carry this around. So I don't know if we want to use. If we want to use something like that, because then we can kind of hijack that body line there. That might work quite nice. Do something a bit more like that. We'll just make sure that's still fairly smooth across there. So that's not looking too bad. That could work quite nicely. Just tidy this up here. And then that will allow us maybe to bring this out as well. We may end up, when it comes to us adding the details or the finer details to this, we may switch that up a little bit. But I think for now, that might work quite nice. Okay, so we've got that going around. This is nicely merging up into here. We've got it so that the geometry, if we was to try and sharpen up this line here, it's going to flow down. We can maybe have that flow down to this section down here and join down here. So let's maybe do that too. Let's just grab the 1. Actually, no. Let's grab the 2. So I'm going to grab both of these and extrude. I'm going to take them down to the bottom here. Let's maybe take these as well, because this is going to really help us kind of determine if we see that they're sitting just a little bit in front there of those. That's not too bad. So let's just add an edge loop inside here, just to match that geometry. I'm just going to snap these into the right spots here, and I'm snapping the second one. I'm just moving it along so that it runs straight from it, and then we can just make sure we're sitting at the right spot in here. So actually want to be somewhere like that, and then this down here. Okay, and now we've got those positioned, what we can do is we can grab these ones here and we can snap those there. So we know now that these ones are roughly in the right spot based on the side skirt. So we can see that's joining up there really nicely. Let's have a think about this bit. So let's bring this up here. What we may want to do actually is let's maybe delete this face. We'll grab this edge here and we'll go down and around. So this is going to help us define this curve around the intake. It'll also help us add some geometry inside the side skirt there for the detail. Something like that. And then with this ones here, we can maybe target weld these, so we'll drag these over there. So we can see how that's starting to make that nice curve. Okay. And then it's just important to make sure we're flowing nicely. Like that. I'll just keep pulling these out until we've got a nice, fairly straight section going down around there. What we could do with this one, maybe drop this a little bit lower. This might feed nicely onto there, something like that. Okay. So what I'll probably do in between episodes is I'll probably do a little bit of cleaning up inside here. And when I say cleaning up, I mean just pulling points in this direction here until this is all sitting nice and flush with our existing geometry here. Something like that. So I'll do all that in between episodes, just so I'm not wasting too much time as we're going. So that's looking okay. Let's now insert a loop, maybe here. And we'll go for another one about here. And then that means that this one can be target welded there. We can bridge between these two, and then we can fill that hole that's remaining, something like that. Okay, that's looking okay. And then let's grab our edge loop, and we're just going to drop in 2 more here. That's going to allow us to snap these here to that wheel arch, and also it's going to allow us to formulate this curve around here. And I'm going to grab both of these like that. Okay, so in my side view, this is looking quite nice then. We've got some extra geometry here that we can start to use inside there. We can add additional ones should we need to. Maybe this one might be a good to add, maybe slide over there just a little bit. Okay. And then again, it's just a case of making sure that these edges are kind of just flowing with the existing lines that we have for our previous geometry. Looks like maybe we want to come out a little bit more here. Okay, so we've got that sitting in there quite nicely, and then that means what we can do up here is let's just grab these ones and let's bridge these gaps here. And again, in between episodes, what I'll be doing is I'll be running through here and just making sure all of these lines run all the way clean through both of these objects. We could join them together at this point, but I think for now I'll just keep going as we are. Let's maybe add a little bit of detail to the side skirt then, because the side skirt is quite a cool one. If I can see here, so inside our side skirt we can see that it's got a little bit of a lip and then it goes up and then back down. So this is part of the main body colour, but then it looks like we've got a whole new separate piece underneath, so it actually means it's probably going to be touch wood, quite easy to model. So what we'll do is I'm going to grab my multi-cut tool. Before I do, let's insert an edge loop maybe here. Insert 2. In there. That will help us mold that curve a bit more when we get up there for the door as well. And let's grab our multi-cut tool, and we're just going to draw this in on here. I'm going to work to this top line of the blueprint, I think. Yeah, I think the top line should work nice. And then it does look like it overlaps, so we'll do something like that. Okay. And then we do need to add a matching line just here. Okay, so we've got that line inside there. And then I think the easiest thing to do at this point is to let's maybe join these together, just to make this bit, because that bit's probably going to trip me up just a little bit. So I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to go to mesh and then combine, and then I'm going to just do this one by one. So I'm going to select those, and I'm going to say edit mesh and merge. And then I'm just going to drag select and hit G over all of these here, just to merge all of them individually. I know you can do them all at once, but I don't want to mess around with my threshold too much. So I'm moving that down there. So this should be one nice large shape now. If I hit 3 on the keyboard, we can see there's no breaks, so that's fine. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my insert edge loop tool, and let's see. I'm just having a look. I think maybe down here the blueprint might be, I don't know if it's obscured, but it looks like this actually comes a lot further down, like there. And then it looks like up here it actually comes a lot further down as well. Something like that. So I'll just delete. I'm going to select those old edges, hold down Control and hit delete. Unless, actually, I tell a lie, I'm just looking here, it does actually, I'm going to undo that, because it actually looks like there's an underside to this extra section. Yeah, it looks like there's an underside to this extra section. So let's grab all these spaces on here. And I'm going to say, let's go mesh and let's extract them. So edit mesh and extract. Okay, because we are going to want to use this as much as possible. So let's grab our insert edge loop tool and we'll drop one in. Let's see, so it looks like this point here, this line, it looks like that's the point where it starts to fold under. So I'm going to drop a loop in. Once I've done that, I'm going to just use a scale tool to kind of straighten that off a bit and then pull that down to sit at that spot. That looks okay. And then let's run through with our vertices here. And we're just going to run to that line, match everything up to that line. So something like that. And then that will allow us then to grab, just going to go edge here. I'm just going to grab all these edges along the bottom. With the move tool, I'll just pull that underneath. Okay, let's go for Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop. I'm going to drop one in just about here. And I'm going to pull that down. Just for some curvature as it goes underneath. So that's looking quite nice. Okay. I think what we'll want to do now is let's run a line that's going to sit at the edge here and run all the way. Actually, let's yeah, let's do that. We'll grab that line. I'm going to run it all the way down here. Like so. Okay. We know that this isn't going to be touching here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab these points. I'm just going to pull them down so that they're level with that. And then I don't think we're going to need any of these faces. So all of these top faces here, I'm just going to grab those and hit delete. I am down here though going to grab these lower portions and just pull them up a little bit just so that's not so far. Something like that. Find a nice middle ground between. So that's looking quite nice. And then let's grab all of these edges. It does look like obviously this is quite a defined line before it rolls underneath. So we'll need to make sure to remember to do that when the time comes. And I'm just going to extrude this in. I'm going to go in quite a little bit. And then let's hit Ctrl E again, and then we'll just pull this up, just so we can't actually see. Can't actually see anything under there. Okay, so that's looking quite nice. That little fin, so the extra little fin, I'm going to do as a separate component. And the reason I'm going to do it as a separate component is just because it'll just make life much easier when it comes to smoothing out this area later on, so we don't have to add in too much crazy geometry. So let's grab these, do something like that. I'm just going to make sure I'm intersecting that like so. Let's bring this in. So let's grab our original one. I'm just going to go modify. I'm just going to center the pivot here. I'm going to pull this out. Just a little bit. let's add some edge loops to this. I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to add multiple, let's say maybe 3. So drop 3 down there. And that's just going to allow us just to make sure that this isn't going to be protruding too far. Something like that. And then at the top it looks like it's going to be inoffensive sitting up there, so that's okay. And then with the remaining vertices here, let me just straighten these off. I'm just going to pull this in nice and close here. Okay, so that's going to be like our extra little fin that comes out there. I don't think we'll need to do anything much more than that. At least for now. We will come back and we'll add a couple more details to that. So that's looking okay. Let's maybe just now, I'm going to create a couple of different materials. So I'm just going to grab in my Hypershade editor here. It does look like, let's maybe create I'm just going to go for a basic Lambert's. Just make it a little bit darker. Because what we're going to do is let's just add a little bit of differentiation to this, just so we can kind of see what's what. So I'm going to add this to those lower diffuser areas there. Let's drop this on for the side skirt here. Splitter sections, not diffuser. And then we'll throw it on the diffuser and then just around the exhaust shroud as well. Okay, so that's looking quite nice. We've got a couple of minutes left for the video, so what we could maybe think about next is let's start to think, maybe in the next episode what we could do is let's just fill in the gap that we've got up here maybe, or let's actually work up around this back portion. We need to think about how our geometry is going to sit here. I actually think it might be worth at this point to delete these faces. And I do have a bunch of reference images here. So this is on the Audi website, for example. We can kind of see that on this image that it does step quite a lot as we're going through. So we've already got that downward, inward area. So we're protruding up. So we actually need to go in and down. See, where does the door, so this ends at the door here. Okay, so the door's got quite a bit extra overhang at the top, on top of the coupe, so let's maybe grab all of these. I'm going to hit Control E. Let's maybe take it in on the green here. I'm going to go just a little bit. Okay. I'm going to go just a little bit here, something just like that. Okay, and what's happening for the most part is this is actually going straight back down inside, but it gradually goes up towards the end, so by the time it gets back to the door, there's very little in the way of going. Our geometry doesn't go anywhere there, so it doesn't really matter if we add a bunch more to it. So it looks like it should be okay. What we'll do is we'll maybe take this in this way. So it does look like it gets gradually more before it gets less. Something like that. That looks like it should work quite nice. Then we want to go again on this, so I'm going to hit Control E again. And we're going to pull in just a little bit because we don't want to really overcrowd this portion. So that line up here we don't want just yet, so we'll go just a little bit more there. And as we start to get around here, we're probably going to go till about maybe just before that line, and then get gradually further away from it. Okay, I want to make sure we're still sitting on one side of this. Something like that. Okay, and then let's just think, last thing before we finish up this video, let's just throw these in the side view. Let's kind of get them sitting up a little bit better, because we can kind of see that these are going to be sat something like this. Something like that. So that's just going back up the way, and then we're going to do one more that's going up fairly significantly afterwards. But I think we'll leave that into the next episode. So in the next episode, what we'll do, let's continue working on this back section because it does look really cool. It'll be really nice to get something up here nailed. And then after that, we'll start to work in the door. And then we're going to be really close to the base mesh. We'll maybe do the roof last, and then we'll get on to breaking this up and then sticking all the details in. Alright guys, so if you like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. Remember to subscribe to the channel as well for future content. And I will catch you guys in the next one.